Tonight, we go somewhere quiet. Not a battlefield, not a palace, but a dusty hillside village in the eastern corner of the Roman Empire. The year is 28 AD. The sun has long set and most lamps are out. Somewhere, a mother hums softly to a child. A cartwheel creaks in the distance. You are not a ruler, not a prophet, not even a soldier. You are someone history forgot. But tonight, we remember you. Before we begin, take a moment to get comfortable. Dim the lights. Let the world slow down. If you're enjoying this quiet space, you can subscribe. Only if it feels right. And tell us, where in the world are you listening from, and what time is it for you right now? Let's go back to the edges of empire, to a land of sandals and stone, where the days were hard and the nights were sacred. The sky is still pale when the first sounds begin. A rooster crows somewhere down the slope. Footsteps shuffle softly on packed earth. A child coughs. A pot clinks against stone. You wake not in a bed, but on a mat of straw laid over a clay floor. The room smells faintly of smoke and dried herbs hung near the rafters. There is no glass on the window, only a cloth, fluttering slightly in the cool breeze. You sit up slowly. Your tunic is rough woven, tied with a simple cord. You own two of them, one for work, one for rest. The walls around you are of mud brick, darkened by years of fire and dust. A single shelf holds clay bowls, a worn cup, and a wooden comb. There are no mirrors, no clocks, only the steady light growing through the door. Outside, the narrow streets of your village are waking too. Neighbors greet each other with nods, not words. Water jars are carried on hips and heads. A goat complains. A baby cries. The smell of baking flatbread drifts from an open oven. A mixture of barley, olive oil, and yesterday's lentils will be your morning meal. There is no coffee, no sugar, no time to linger. Your day will be long. But for now, the stillness of morning holds you for just a moment longer. You close your eyes again for a breath. Not because you are rested, but because you must carry this silence into the noise ahead. By mid-morning, the village is fully alive. The sun is higher now, casting hard-edged shadows on the stone walls and dusty roads. You step outside. The air is dry, and the earth warm beneath your sandals. There are no carts rushing by, no merchants shouting. This is not Jerusalem or Caesarea. This is Judea's forgotten edge, a village of 200 souls, maybe less. Men walk in small groups toward the fields, sickles slung over shoulders. Women gather at the well, drawing water and exchanging quiet glances. Children trail behind them, kicking pebbles, their laughter restrained by discipline. Labor is life here. Fields of barley and wheat stretch beyond the hills. You may till, plant, harvest, or tend to animals if you're fortunate. Goats are easier than oxen, but harder to love. Work is done by hand, and hands are never idle. Olive branches are gathered. Clay is mixed for repairs. A boy patches a leaking roof with mud and straw, guided by his grandfather's voice. At the edge of the village, a carpenter smooths the leg of a stool. His tools are few, worn to the handle. His son watches in silence, already learning the weight of patience. No one owns much, but everyone owns something. A comb, a cloak, a stone oil lamp handed down from mother to daughter. And though Roman taxes hang like dust in the air, inescapable and heavy, the village moves with the rhythm of old ways. Life is hard but known, predictable, grounded. For now, there is no storm, only sun, work, and the promise of a midday meal. Hunger is a constant companion here, not starvation, but restraint. Fullness is a rare guest, and indulgence is unknown. You eat what the land gives, and the land gives little without work. Bread is the center of every meal. thick, flat, torn by hand, sometimes barley, sometimes spelt, always dense, always earned. With it, a bowl of lentils or beans, stewed slowly with herbs gathered from the hillside, thyme, mint, wild onion, a pinch of salt if you're lucky. Cheese, made from goat's milk, is a luxury. Olives, pressed into oil, are more valuable than gold here, used for food, light, even wounds. Meat, rare. A festival offering, a once-a-season event. Chickens are too precious for slaughter. Sheep, too valuable for wool. For sweetening, there is no sugar. Only dates, or the occasional drizzle of honey. You savor sweetness because it is fleeting. Water is not from a tap, but a task. Women walk to the well each day, jars balanced expertly on their heads. The water is cool, sometimes gritty. But it is life. There is no soap, no plumbing. Hands are rinsed before meals with a splash of water and a whispered blessing. Meals are silent affairs, not out of reverence, but necessity. Mouths are busy. Time is short. Work awaits. You eat while seated on woven mats with family and neighbors. There is no dining table, no forks or knives, just fingers and shared bowls. When the food is gone, the bowls are wiped clean with bread, then stacked quietly for washing. And then you return to the fields, the loom, the fire, carrying the meal like a memory in your stomach, enough to keep going, never enough to forget you're hungry. You may not see them every day, but they are always there. The empire watches in silence, like a shadow on your wall, a carved eagle above a stone gate, a faded Latin word on a milestone, a tax collector's sandals echoing down a dry road. Rome does not scream, it whispers. In coins you don't mint, in rules you never chose. Every man in the village knows someone who has been punished, not for stealing, but for speaking, not for killing, but for forgetting their place. The soldiers pass through from time to time. They do not smile. Their armor clinks, their eyes scan. Children are told not to stare. You owe taxes not only in silver, but in grain, in olives, in hours of labor. Even the air feels owned. You've heard of crucifixions. You avoid those roads. A friend of a friend once saw one. They say it was not the pain that haunted him, but the silence around it. Rome doesn't need to shout. The roads it built now carry soldiers instead of merchants. And the laws it carved in stone are not yours to question. But life continues. You bow your head, lower your voice, pay what is asked, and return home to your quiet, heavy life. In the corner of your house, a Roman coin sits beneath a clay jar, not out of reverence, but habit, a reminder that even in your own home, Rome is never far away. Some labor leaves no dust behind, no calluses on palms, no dirt under fingernails, but it builds the rhythm of the day just the same. Inside the home, the air is warm with the scent of ground grain and drying linen. A mother kneads dough with slow, practiced hands, her fingers shaped by repetition. She doesn't speak much. There's no need. The work knows her, and she knows the work. A girl gathers kindling near the doorway. Her tunic is patched, her feet bare. She hums without knowing she does. Children sit in the shade, tracing lines in the dirt with sticks. They don't have toys, but their play is serious. One pretends to be a scribe, another a merchant. The future rehearsed in dust and silence. There are no schools here. Lessons come through watching, failing, repeating. A daughter learns how to spin thread by watching her grandmother's hands. A son learns reverence by watching how his father speaks, or doesn't speak, in the synagogue. The old do not rest. They mend, sort, grind, stitch. Their eyes may be cloudy, but their memory is sharp. They remember the flood, the famine, the plague, not as stories, but as days lived and survived. In this world, no one is idle. Even the smallest child carries something. A basket, a jug, a question they dare not ask aloud. And the women, they hold the village together, not with titles or scrolls, but with warm bread, steady arms, and 1,000 quiet choices no one sees. The world outside may belong to kings and soldiers, but the hours inside belong to them. The invisible hours, the hours that history forgot. The sun dips low behind the hills, bleeding gold into the dusty sky. Shadows stretch long across the earth, then vanish. Evening begins not with words, but with silence. A subtle slowing, a shift in rhythm. The tools are set down. The animals are fed. And the village exhales. Inside your home, a small flame is lit. Olive oil in a shallow clay lamp. Its light is soft, flickering like memory. The evening meal is simple. Bread, perhaps a boiled egg. A few olives, maybe lentils, reheated from noon. The family eats together, close and quiet. There is no music, only the sound of chewing, of swallowing, of breathing. Afterward, someone tells a story, a tale of Joseph, or Ruth, or a foolish man who ignored the flood. The words are old, but the voice is warm. Children begin to fade, heads resting on arms, eyes heavy with dust and sleep. Outside, the stars appear one by one. There are no lanterns to outshine them, just the sky, vast, black, and familiar. You lie down on your straw mat, the earth beneath you cool and unmoving. There is no pillow, no blanket thick enough for winter. But your body has learned to settle, to be still. Somewhere in the distance, a jackal cries. Someone stirs in their sleep. You whisper a short prayer, half remembered, half hoped. Not for riches, not for strength, just for another morning. Sleep comes not as a gift, but as a truce between the body and the world. And in the dark, the village vanishes into silence again, as it has for 1,000 years. You don't own a Torah scroll. You don't debate in temples. But faith lives in your fingers, in the way you tie your sandals before sunrise, in the way you rest your hands before breaking bread. The sacred is not loud here. It moves like wind between stones, soft and unseen. You rise with the Shema on your lips, not always recited aloud, but whispered in the space between waking and working. On market days, you walk past Roman idols without looking. You do not curse them. You do not name them. You simply keep walking. That, too, is a prayer. The Sabbath is your only real pause. Work halts. Fire is not kindled. Even breath seems to move slower. Neighbors gather not to gossip, but to listen, to recite, to remember. A child reads from a shard of parchment. An elder nods, not at the accuracy, but at the effort. Faith is not spectacle here. There are no processions, no robes, no incense. Only rhythm, repetition, intention. You wash before eating, even when water is scarce. You mark your doorpost with worn scripture, even if no one visits. You teach your children the Psalms, even if they never learn to read. It is not belief that sustains this world. It is the practice of belief. And though Rome builds temples and cities from marble, you know that holiness needs no stone. It lives in olive oil, in soil, in the silence between words. You will not be remembered as a prophet. But your days are sacred, all the same. The lamp has gone out. The village sleeps. And somewhere, beneath a thatched roof, a child dreams of a world without dust. The hills are dark now. The roads empty. The voices of the day have softened into stillness. Everything you've heard tonight, the footsteps, the fields, the fire, they are all gone. Not by tragedy, but by time. But time does not bury everything. Some lives remain, not in books, not in monuments, but in memory. carried quietly from ear to ear, from dream to dream. And tonight, for a little while, they lived again. So rest now, not like the empires, loud and fallen, but like the village, soft, small, and eternal. Thank you for being here, for listening. If this journey brought you a moment of peace, feel free to subscribe or share it with someone who needs silence. And tell us, where in the world are you tonight? What time is it? For now, close your eyes. Let history fade, and let sleep take its gentle place.